Also, drop the sign-in links when you get a chance, Baba Shah.
Go on, Council.
I.S.U.P.K. 53rd Annual Lord's Passover.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is I.S.U.P.K. down in Florida. I'm capping the 10,000 from YAHANNA. We're here to let you know 53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida. It's going down in South Florida.
Friday, April 15th, 2022.
The lamb, the wine, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, you understand? Good music, good weather, palm trees, the whole nine.
This is going to be glorious. Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida 32926.
April 15th and the 16th. Don't just book for the 15th. Book for the 15th and the 16th.
It's going down Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
Moses told Pharaoh we need 3 days to be able to go out into the wilderness and serve our power the way he commands. You're going to have to get that off with your boss, with your slave master. So make sure you in the building. Cocoa Beach, Florida, April 15th to 16th, 2022. It's going down. We'll see y'all there.
144,000. I'm just trying to make 144,000. 144,000. I'm just trying to make 144.
Shalom, shalom, shalom. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yashai Baraka Thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shemar Thumb Bashem Yashai to all the sisters. We're at it again. It's Monday night. Monday night, you know what we're doing. It's history, but we're in the history of Purim right now. Salakia. Regularly, we would do a history class. Tonight, we're doing the Feast of Purim, right? Many people say that we don't honor sisters, right? They say that we're cruel to our sisters, and they paint Israelites with a bad name. That's just because they hate Black, Hispanic, and Native American men, right? But in the I.S.U.P.K, we do not hate our sisters. We love our sisters, our mothers, our aunties. We love them so much that we correct them when they're wrong, and we guide them, right? So tonight we're going to be honoring a honorable sister by the name of Esther, right? Hadassah in the Hebrew, right? So first, let's give a hand to all the sisters who are inside, who are in the UPK, right? Because they're not sisters in the world. They're not like the sisters in the world who are the sisters in the world. Oh my gosh, they're absolute monsters, right? And here we have gems. Montreal, right? Give a shout out to Montreal. Give a hand to Montreal. Montreal's in the building with us. Right.
Yahweh Shem Yashai
Yahweh Shem Yashai Baraka Thumb. Yahweh Shemar Lathum Bashem Yashai. Right. Give a shout out to Officer Shariwan. He's in with us. Right. So what we're talking about tonight is honorable sisters. A honorable sister by the name of Hadassah, Esther. Right. And she saved the nation of Israel at one point. She played her role. Right. So we're gonna have to go into it. Right. Now, for Black History Month, it's an interesting thing that's happening, right? They give us Black History Month in the shortest month, right? And the coldest if you're in Canada or depending on where you are in the United States, right? When Black history is made all year, right? We make Black history all year, right? So we're gonna go into our history book and a wonderful sister, a sister that deserves honor, right? As we go into our history book, we find out that these are our records. All the gods have records, right? All the gods in the earth But where's the record of our God? Where's the record of the black God, of the Hispanic God, of the Native American God? Right. You go all throughout different parts of the earth. They have museums and statues and different books and TV shows dedicated to these gods. Right. They today the whole earth is celebrating Valentine's Day.
Also, Shalom, do you hear me?
Con, sir.
Can you take over for also the budget for in the meantime, but question?
Con, sir. Salaki, I'm not sure where he's starting off at. Salaki, give me one moment. All right, Salaki, what we're going to do is, Salaki, we're just having some technical difficulties. We're going to play back the Passover video real quick. All right, we're still getting ready. Passover's coming up. We're just trying to fix some things. Salaki, bear with us.
Shalom, sir. How you doing? Pretty good. Pretty good.
I.S.U.P.K. 53rd Annual Lord's Passover.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. This is the I.S.U.P.K. down in Florida. I'm Captain of 10,000 Shamor Yahweh. We here to let you know 53rd Annual Lord's Passover is going to be held down here in Florida. It's going down in South Florida, Cocoa Beach.
Friday, April 15th, 2022.
The lamb, the wine, the brotherhood, the sisterhood, you understand? Good music, good weather, palm trees, the whole nine.
This is going to be glorious. Book your hotels now at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites, 301 Tucker Lane, Cocoa Beach, Florida, 32926.
April 15th and the 16th. Don't just book for the 15th. Book for the 15th and the 16th.
It's going down Friday, April 15th at the Space Coast Convention Center.
Moses told Pharaoh we need 3 days to be able to go out into the wilderness and serve our power the way he commands. You're going to have to get that off with your boss, with your slave master. So make sure you in the building. Cocoa Beach, Florida, April 15th to 16th, 2022 is going down. We'll see y'all there. Shalom.
144,000. I'm just trying to make 144,000. 144,000. I'm just trying to make 144.
All right, perfect time, and we're back, right? So as we were saying, all these nations have statues and buildings and records, but where's the record of the Black, Hispanic, and Native American God, right? All the other nations had us in captivity, and they built kingdoms off of us, right? Our God is going to deliver his people, right? Earlier today, we were discussing on Clubhouse how a truck full of 2,000 guns went missing in Ontario. Right? Where do you think they're going? Montreal, get ready. There's going to be more murder in your city, right? Toronto, get ready. There's going to be more murder in your city, right? That's because we're not with our God. All these heathen nations hate us, right? So we're gonna give honor to this sister today and remember how she saved the nation of Israel. She played the role of a good sister, right? She wasn't trying to lead. She wasn't trying to usurp authority over a man, right? She went to her family member and she followed direction, right? So let's get into it. Shar, you want Bubba Kasar? We're in the book of Esther. You start at verse 1, chapter 1.
Come.
You can start whenever you got it. Right. What we're going into is the history. There was a time when a Persian king he took over the Israelites. Right. We were in captivity to a Persian king. Right. This is the same king from the movie 300, Xerxes. They turned around and made a movie out of him. Right. As I was saying earlier, all the people of renown from the heathens, they're always mentioned throughout history. Right. Sorry, you can read whenever you got it.
Come. The book of Esther, chapter 1 and verse 1. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ashurus which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 127 provinces.
Right. So this man, his kingdom was very large. He ruled the known world at the time, right? From the Eastern European provinces, except some of the small ones, right? And where the Edomites were, right? That's when the Edomites were in caves, right? Some of these Edomites are in caves, right? So here's the thing now. Everybody thinks that the Greeks of the time, right, were Slovakia. The original Greeks had color. They weren't the Caucasians that they portrayed them to be today. Right? Someone's mic is kind of chipping in and out. I'm not sure. That might be Montreal. Montreal, can you mute your mic, Bubba Shah?
Come.
Right. Again, give all the sisters that came into the school a hand. All the sisters that are receiving names. We see Montreal.
Right.
Montreal's going up, right? Montreal could definitely teach a thing for these Toronto sisters because we see the Montreal sisters. The Montreal sisters, they're jumping into the school, right? So, like, Officer Shariwan, you can continue reading.
Come. That in those days, when the king Assyrius sat on the throne of his kingdom.
Okay, Salakia, Officer Shariwan, it's actually your mic. You might want to fiddle with your cord just a little. Right. So this is talking about the king, right? Assuerus, who he sat in his kingdom, right? So again, he had a large kingdom, what was known as what people would say was the known world at that time. That was his kingdom, right? He had a palace in Iran, bordering Iraq, right? It's in ruin right now, right? All right, Officer Shaw, you want to try one more time?
Come.
All right, you're Tawab.
That in those days, when the king Asuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the power of Persia and Media, the
Right.
nobles.
So hold that right there. He made a feast to all his princes, all his nobles. Right. So we're gonna drop that right there, and we're gonna jump over to verse 2 and verse 1. Salakia, actually, one second. There's a part we want to get to. Da, 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 da. All right, go to verse 9.
Come.
Go to verse 9, Baba Kasha.
Esther 1 and verse 9. Also, Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house which belonged to King Asuerus.
Right, keep reading.
On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Biztha, Harbona, Bigtha, and Abigtha, Zethar, and Koreas, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Asuerus the king.
Right. So he commanded his subjects, right? He told them to do something and they did it. These are the times when he was having a party. He finished conquering, right? So he finished conquering. And what do you do when you have a victory, right? They have a party. Right. So he finished conquering what was known as the known world at that moment. He had a party. He commanded his chamberlains to do something. And he also had a command for his queen. Right. We're going to read as he told them to bring her. Keep reading.
Verse 11. To bring Vashti, the queen, before the king with the crown royal, to show the people and the princes her beauty.
Right. So this is a man. He has a lot of things. And a man with a lot of things, one thing he wants to do is always show it off. Right. So he had a woman that was beautiful in his eyes. Right. And for the record, no heathen is as beautiful as the sisters that are Black, Hispanic, and Native American.
Right.
You see them always prop up these heathens, right, to be over our sisters, but the heathens, they can't compare to the beauty of a sister that is Black, Hispanic, or Native American, right? But this king, he wanted to show off Vashti. Keep reading.
For she was fair to look on. But the queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment.
Right. So she was disrespectful. Right. Now this is a king where if he would ride into cities with the heads of kings that he slaughtered in battle. He made cities and countries bow at the knee. Right. But his queen was disrespectful. She did not, Salakia. She didn't follow orders. Right. Keep reading.
And by his chamberlains. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him.
Right. So his anger burned in him. Salakia. We're gonna keep reading down to 16, right? If y'all got any questions, y'all feel free to ask any questions. If y'all have any questions, feel free to ask any questions. And make sure you're eating the good food, because I heard there was good food being cooked tonight.
God.
Right. Salakia. All right, Baba Kashar, you can keep reading.
Come. Verse 13. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner towards all the new law and judgment.
Drop that right there. Jump down to 15.
Verse 15. What shall we do unto the queen Vashti?
Right. So
According to
these
law.
are these hold that right there. These are the are this is basically like his royal council, right? And they're asking, what shall we do with the Queen Vashti? Because she was disrespectful. Now, the one thing this king can't have is the disrespect, because he just conquered the whole earth. Now, if some warriors hear that his own woman is not listening to him, right? That's going to give them the courage that they need to try and come up against his empire, right? And one chink in the armor is all it takes, right? Was that the end of the verse?
Law, sir.
Keep going.
According to law, because she has not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains.
You could take us down to 15 to 16.
And Mamuan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti, the queen, hath not done wrong to the king only, but also to the princes.
Right. So they took it as a major disrespect, as she disrespected the whole nation. Right. Keep reading.
But also to the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of the king Ahasuerus.
Right. So what you're finding out is they're basically saying, listen, she disrespected everybody. This is a major crime, right? Because this king at this time, he portrayed himself as a god, right? And that's one thing heathen nations will always do. They'll always prop themselves up as gods, right? You have a homosexual man who used to sleep with his sister, right? Caesar Borgia, posing as the greatest black man to ever walk the earth, right? Y'all know him as Jesus Christ, and here we call him Yahawashi Mashiach. You could jump down to 17.
For the deed of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that
Right.
they shall.
So hold that right there. What they're saying is, listen, if the queen can disrespect the king, what are the Salakia? What's the best way to say this? The lower class of citizens in his kingdom, what are their wives gonna do? Right? That's what they're having this council about, right? They're having a council about this woman disrespecting her head. Right? Keep reading.
So that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes.
Right. And now let's think about sisters in the world, right? This is why we give reference and honor to our sisters who come into the school, because they decided to change their ways. Right? Sisters in the world don't give reference to their husbands. Right? They have a new husband every week. Right? And as soon as there's a slight problem, there's never a let's fight to keep this relationship until we're old and gray. Right? There might be a fight to keep the relationship for a slight moment. Right? But then the council of the pastor tells them it's okay to divorce. It's okay if your husband is if your husband's not doing right by you, or you feel your husband's not doing right, or you just feel like you fell out of love, you could leave that man. They tell brothers the same thing, right? You could leave that sister, right? That's from the heathens, right? Now the heathens, they didn't just leave you, right? The heathens, they took it to the extreme, right? Let's find out what the heathens thought to do with this woman who was disrespecting her husband. Keep reading.
When it shall be reported, the king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. Likewise, shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes, which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath.
Right. So they're basically saying that as soon as the other women in the cities and throughout your kingdom hear that this queen disobeyed you, she it's going to cause an uprising amongst the women, right? And eventually he put Vashti to death. And that's what the heathens do. They put their women to death. And here we love our sisters. We know that it's a battle, right? You have to battle to stay together,
Right.
right? It's listen, you're gonna fight. If you think that you're going to get with a man or you're gonna get with some sister and you're not going to fight, you're not going to. Now I don't mean physically fight, but you're gonna have disagreements, right? You might wake up one morning and why the hell am I with this person, right? But you got to go to council for that because your king said you cannot divorce.
Right.
Divorcing causes whoredom in our community, right? Whoredom. Good night. On Saturday, we just went through an article talking about how the United States has 110 million STDs and STIs annually. That's because of whoredom. Your Christian pastor has failed you, right? So where are we gonna go to? Barak Allah.
Khan.
Jump to Esther verse. Salakia. Jump to Esther 2 verse 1.
Khan. Esther chapter 2, verse 1. After these things, when the wrath of the king Ahasuerus was appeased, he remembered Vashti and what she had done.
Right. So after a while, hold that right there. But Baba Kasha, stop at the comments. Right. After a while, he started to his anger it died down, and then he remembered of what she had did. Right. Keep reading.
Verse 2. Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him, let there be a fair young virgin sought to the king.
Right. So his servants turned around and said, listen, if she's disrespectful, go and get another one. Go get another wife. Right. That they said, let's go and look if there's fair young virgins. Right. Virgins in the Hebrew, we understand it and we know it to be a woman of marriageable age. Right. And that's even after she has a husband. What we jump into, you could jump to verse. Keep reading. You can read verse 3.
Verse 3. And let the king appoint officers in all the provinces of his kingdom, that they may gather together all the fair young virgins unto Shushan, the palace.
Right. So he commanded that his officers go gather throughout the town all the virgins throughout the kingdom. Right. Now this is something a man of power, a celebrity does on a regular basis. He'll have a handler who will go throughout wherever they're located, and he'll find women for this man to sleep with, right? And then they'll throw them away. Like as we speak right now, some sister is being talked into sleeping with some celebrity because it's Valentine's Day. In the morning, he's going to forget about her, and she's going to be disappointed in herself, right? And it's best for sisters to get in here, get in this school where you could learn to be a proper wife, a proper sister, a proper mother, to a man who learned to be a proper husband, father, and brother. What read verse 4, Baba Kasha?
Verse 4. And let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vasti. And the thing pleases the king.
Read that, Salaki. You were breaking up. Read it one more time.
And let the maiden which pleases the king be queen instead of Vasti.
Right. So they're saying the virgin, the maiden, the young woman who pleases the king, right? She'll be the queen of the kingdom instead of Vasti. Right. So this is what they're gonna do. They're going to go look for a young woman who will take this woman's place. Right. Keep reading.
And the king pleaded the king, and he did so. Verse
Read
5.
verse 5.
Now in Shushan the palace, there was a certain Jew whose name was Mordecai.
Right. So there was a certain a Israelite man, right? A Jew from the tribe of Judah, Yahawada in the Hebrew, right? His name was Mordecai, right? This is a man. Salakia, he's the uncle to Esther, right? And because of his wisdom, Esther listened to him, and our kingdom was able to be saved. Right, us, the Israelites as a people were able to be saved in this moment. Right, keep reading.
The son of Jair, the son of Shimei, the son of Kish, the Benjamite.
Right, so you can go to read verse 6.
Verse 6. Who had been carried away from Jerusalem to the
Yeah,
captivity which had been king of Judah.
Salakia, read that one more time.
Who had been carried away from Jerusalem to the captivity which had been carried away with Jeconiah, king of Judah.
Right, so this is Israel. We've been through so many captivities that we wake up right now still in captivity. Right, this is just another captivity. It's been a while, but it's almost over. Right, the Lord is pleading with us, pleading with the brothers and sisters who are in the world for them to wake up, for them to see a video, to receive a flyer, see a brother speaking in class, see an Instagram post, TikTok video, some Facebook post, and wake up and get in class. That's what the Lord is hoping for. He's pleading for us to do that. Nevertheless, he's still on his way. We've been through many captivities. This captivity that we're reading about is it's before the Roman captivity. Keep reading.
Whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away.
Right. So this is a time when they were already carried away from the king of Babylon, Nebuchadnezzar. Right. You could go to verse 7.
Verse 7. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter.
Right. So he brought up Hadassah, right? Esther, myrtle tree, right? She another definition is fertile one, right? And it was his uncle's daughter. Now this is a good man because he was about family. He took care of family, right? In the world today, your family's turning on you, right? And you're in the world, you fight with your family every 2 minutes. Some of you haven't spoken to certain family members in 10 years over something simple, right? Or it could be something major that you need to go to counsel about. Keep reading.
For she had neither father nor mother, and the maid was fair and beautiful. Whom Mordecai, when her father and her mother were dead, took for his own daughter,
Right. So this man, he raised up this woman as his own daughter. She was a beautiful young lady, and he raised her up as his own daughter. Right. Um, you could so basically what happens. I'm just gonna actually read verse 8.
Verse 8. So it came to pass when the king's commandment and his decree was heard, and when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the palace, to the custody of Hegai, and Esther was brought also unto the king's house, to the custody of Hegai, keeper of the women.
Right. So again, the officers, they went throughout the king's empire, gathering the maidens, the young ladies, right, who they thought were beautiful. Right. They came across Hadassah, Esther, and they brought her onto the king too. And she went to the king's keeper. Jump to verse 9.
Verse 9. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily gave her her things for purification.
Right. So in this time, there was a process, right? There was a process of purification before the king would take these women to be his, right? They had to go through a purification period, right? The maiden pleased the keeper, Haggai, right? So she had everything she needed. Da, 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 da. You can keep reading the verse.
With such things as belonged to her, and 7 maidens, which were meet to be given her out of the king's house.
Right. So this sister, she was so beautiful. She got 7 maidens to wait on her out of the king's house. Right. Now, this purification process, this is something like sister Salakia. Only in the UPK is this happening right now, where a sister has to wait, right? A brother has to wait, right, before he could take a rib, right? And there is no, you just see a sister in here, you just want to talk to her, like you're in the Christian church where you see her and you just jump in her DMs. This is not the place. In this place is protocol. You can't do anything. You do not have control over your own body, right? Now that sounds a way, but you got to think about what's going on in the world. I just told you that there's 110 million STDs and STIs in the United States annually. They're spending 7 billion annually on healthcare for STIs alone. You can keep reading.
And he preferred her and her maids unto the best place of the house of the women.
Right. So because of Esther's beauty and her continence, she was getting the best of this situation. Right. Read verse 10.
Verse 10. Esther had not shewed her people, nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not show it.
Right. So what's happening now is Esther, she listens. This is a good sister. She follows protocol. She follows orders. Sisters in the world, you can't tell them anything. Right? A sister in the world will tell you she's independent, and that should be a red flag. Right? That should let you know she's not going to follow you. She's not going to give you the respect that you deserve. Right? Da, 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 da. Was that the end of the verse? All right, so you want to pick up where Baraki Allah left off?
So Slaki, which verse?
Where were we? We're in 2. You can read 11.
Chapter 2, verse 11.
Come. Verse 11. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house.
Right. So Mordecai, he raised this young girl as her daughter. He gave her an order. Don't tell them you're an Israelite. Do not tell them you're a Jew. Right. And so he's gonna go check up on her. Right now that was excellent wisdom. Right. He goes to check up on her every day, like a brother, like a father would do, like a loved one, someone who loves someone. You sent them into a situation, you don't know exactly what's going to happen, but you want to find out every day, right? It's not like he could go and send a text or FaceTime, right, or a Facebook post to check in, right? So he had to go to the gates every day to find out what was happening. Keep reading.
Come. To know how Esther did and what should become of her.
Right. He wants to know what is happening to his family. Right. Again, that was his princess. Right. Most father figures, they treat their daughters like little princesses. They can do no wrong. Right. Some sisters don't have fathers. Right. And here you come in here and you're gonna get a father figure that you never had. Right. And Commanding General YAHANNA. Right. Keep reading.
Come. Verse 12. Now when every maid's turn has come to go into King Ahasuerus, after that she had been 12 months, according to the manner of the woman.
Right. So this is a purification process, right? 12 months. That's just like in here, right? A brother comes into the school, a sister comes into the school. It's about 6 months before you get a name. Right? You want to talk to a sister, you Salakia. You want to marry a sister. You have to court that sister for 6 months. In that time period, you should be asking every question. Everything you want to know about that sister. Sisters, that goes the same for you. You should be asking everything you want to know about that brother. Right? Because once you do that deed, again, there's that rule. You break it, you buy it. You got to keep it for life. Right? Keep reading.
For so were the days of their purification accomplished.
Right. After that 12 months, they were purified. Keep reading.
To wit, 6 months with oil of myrrh, and 6 months with sweet odors. Right.
Now that's 6 months of just getting fresh. Right. Ooh, now brothers can't even wait 2 minutes. Right. They'll see a sister walking down the street and they'll start the conversation off with asking for sex. Right. Not about what if this sister even has a husband, and the sister might say, I have a man, and the brother, he's full out in his lust. He doesn't care. He says, well, can I be your friend? Knowing damn well brothers and sisters can't be friends. Right. That's one of the biggest tricks in the world, because no brother has an intention of being a friend to that sister.
Right.
He wants to tear fire and forget about her. He doesn't want the responsibility of her problems. Right. And if she's in the world, she's definitely coming with problems. Right. That brother has problems too, but he doesn't want to deal with them at all. Right. So this was a 6-month purification. Salakia, a year-long purification that this sister went through. Right. And because we have a courting process like no other inside here, marriages are lasting in here. families are lasting in here. The Salakia, the baby rate in the UPK is going through the roof.
God.
Right. You can keep reading.
And with other things for the purifying of the women.
Salakia, what verse are you in?
That's the
Okay, you're in the end of verse 12. Jump to 15.
Come. Now when the turn of Esther, the daughter of Abihail, the uncle of Mordecai, who had taken for her for his daughter, was come to go in unto the king.
Right, so it's her turn to go into the king. Right, it's her turn to go into the king. Like she's been purified for 12 months. Right, sisters in here, they purify for 12 months, and again, it's like nothing else in the world. Right, she gets to shed herself of all the demons that she had in the world. Brothers are in here doing the same thing. They come in here, they get in all black, and listen, other than ask your question and read, don't be quiet. Right? If you got a question, ask it. There are no silly questions in here. Every question gets answered. Right? Keep reading.
Come. Slakia. She required nothing but what Haggai, the king's chamberlain, the keeper of the woman appointed.
Right. She didn't need anything except for the simple things that she had. This was a humble sister. Right. This is a sister. This is a UPK sister right here. Very humble. If you've never met a more humble sister than a sister that's in this body, that's in this school. Right. Keep reading.
And Esther obtained favor in the sight of all of them that looked upon her. Verse 16.
She was that's just basically saying she was beautiful. Right? To look upon her, you instantly liked her. Keep reading.
Verse 16. So Esther was taken unto King Ahasuerus into his house royal in the 10th month, which is the month Tebeth, in the 7th year of his reign. And the king loved Esther above all the women, and she obtained grace and favor in his sight.
Right. She obtained grace and favor in his sight. Now, this is a time, right? This is something that the Lord is doing. This is the Lord's doing right here, right? Because in this time, we had sisters, and they weren't Serena Williams. They weren't a pit bull by the name of Eve, right? Meaning they never talked to heathens, right? They wouldn't even, a heathen couldn't even look up on our one of our sisters without us being in captivity. Keep reading.
More than all the virgins.
Right. She obtained more grace in the king's eye than all the women in his kingdom. Keep reading.
So that he set the royal crown upon her head.
And that is the beauty and grace of an Israelite woman, right? She, again, there's no woman that compares to an Israelite woman walking the earth. Keep reading.
And made her queen in the stead of Vasthi.
Like, one moment. Right, so she's queen instead of Vasti, right? Instead of Vestai, right? The king, he looked at her like, listen, you are too disrespectful. I don't want nothing to do with you. right? And he made her the queen, right? And again, if you're black, Hispanic, or Native American, and you're a sister, you're God's chosen princesses, his chosen daughters, right? You're not supposed to be taking orders from some heathen at some slavery that doesn't pay you what you're worth, right? If you're a sister in her righteousness is worth just get all the rubies, all the gems, all the diamonds, all the gold, anything valuable in the earth, just pile it up in one pile. The sister is worth more than all of that. Keep reading.
Verse 18. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
Right. So the king, he wanted to show off his woman, right? He wanted to show that she. Now, the best way to say that is, this is the power a sister in her righteousness has over a man, right? Some women think that. Now, some women think that they need to use their body to get what they want from a man, right? When it's literally the total opposite. Your body can only get you certain things from certain men, and those aren't the men that you want in your life, right? A man in his righteousness, a man in the UPK, your body doesn't. To say it the best way, you'll get more out of us when you know your role as a righteous sister, as a wife, as a rib, right? You're not going to Salakia, right? This is not the place. We're not tricking. You're not getting anything out of us because of your body. You could read that one more time.
Verse 18. Then the king made a great feast unto all his princes and his servants, even Esther's feast. And
Right.
he made a release to the provinces.
Right. He made Esther a feast because of how humble she was. She didn't need for anything. Right. She came into that situation and she only took what she got. Listen, she got a little bit, and that's what she took. But because of her humbleness, she got more than she needed. You can keep reading.
And he made a release to the provinces and gave gifts according to the state of the king.
Right. So he was in such a great mood that he was giving gifts to the places he conquered. Right. You could read 19.
And when the virgins were gathered together the second time, then Mordecai sat in the king's gate.
Right. Now remember, this man, he was always checking up on his daughter, right? He was always checking up on his family, right? He would sit by the king's gate just to get a little bit of information as to what's going on at the moment. Right? Where are we?
So end of verse 19, sir.
End of verse 19. You could take us into 20.
Come. Verse 20. Esther had not yet showed her kindred, nor her people.
Right. So she still didn't tell anybody who she was. Right. She didn't tell them I'm an Israelite. Right. Keep reading.
As Mordecai had charged her.
right? And because Mordecai told her not to do this, and she said Khan out of one Khan. She listened,
Right.
right? And what's more beautiful than a sister that, listen, a sister with a body, a sister with a pretty face, a sister that, I'll just say it like that, right? A sister with a body and a pretty face is nothing compared to a sister that listens.
Right.
Keep reading.
For Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him.
Right. So she did the commandments as she been listening to him since she was a young woman. Since she was a child, she was listening to this man as a young woman, ready to being given to another man. She still listened to her family. That was like her father. Right. You can go to 21.
Verse 21.
Wait, hold it right there. Hold it right there. That's an issue. A lot of sisters aren't listening to their fathers. Right. A lot of there's a bunch of fathers out there that now there's fathers that are there, and there's fathers that are there that aren't there, and there's fathers that just aren't there, right? But the fathers that are there, they'll tell their daughters not to be with that man, right? And because we're in a world, right, where they want the destruction of the black family. They told our sisters that you need to be independent. You need to be a feminist, right? You need to, meaning you need to hate your man and get him out the house, right? That's what a white woman told our sisters, while the white woman, she stuck with her man.
Right.
Donald Trump said, grab them by the and Salaki, I'm trying to remember the number, but there's a large amount of voters that turned out for him, and it was white women in America. Right? The number is very large. Were you done with 21?
La Asa. We're on verse 21.
Con, you can go into 21.
In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, two of the king's chamberlains, Bigthan and Teresh, of those which kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus.
Right. So because Mordecai was diligently always going to go check up on his family member, he overheard a conversation that wasn't supposed to be overheard. Right. He heard a conversation about treason. Right. A plot to murder. Right. And Mordecai, he did some, again, this is the Lord's doing, right? Mordecai was a wise man. He did something that would gain him favor with the king, right? All right, Barakiala, are you with us?
Khan.
You could take up from Esther chapter 2 verse 22.
Khan. Esther chapter 2, verse 22. And the thing was known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen.
Right, hold that right there. So Mordecai, he heard about the plot to overthrow the king, right? And he told it to Esther the queen, right? And this was a good thing, right? Because it's only going to gain favor with the king, right? And we're in our captivity, right? Now that doesn't mean that you gotta be bending over for your oppressor, You're supposed to separate from your oppressor. But in this moment, this was a wise thing to do. Keep reading.
And Esther certified the king thereof in Mordecai's name.
Right. So Esther let the king know that when it means to say certified, right? She let the king know, I got this information from this man, right? That's what she did. That's what it was, to certify his name. So now his name is known to the king for something good, right? Read 23.
Verse 23. And when inquisition was made of the matter, it was found out. Therefore they were both hanged on a tree.
Okay, so hold that right there, right? So now Mordecai hears this information, right? He hears about the plot of treason. He goes and tells his daughter. His daughter goes and tells the king, right? The inquisition is, which is an investigation. An investigation into these rumors was had, right? And both the king's guards were hung on a tree. These men who kept the gate, right? They were hung on a tree. Da, 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 da. You can keep reading from there.
And it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king.
Right. So now Mordecai's name is in, how do they say it in the world? The good books. Right. So in the world they say the good books. But Mordecai's name is in the good books with the king. Right. And this is what he needed at that moment, because it's definitely going to play a part into what happens next into this story, right? As we go into the story, we're going to find out what's happening next, and it definitely plays a part, right? So now the king, he went and got a beautiful woman, right? And then she comes and tells him, he's already head over heels for this woman, because again, she's the Israelite woman. And listen, no matter what they put on a Vanity Fair, on any of those tabloids, no matter what canine that they prop up in media, who dresses like a sister, talks like a sister, gets her whole style from a sister, that heathen is not as beautiful as a sister.
Right.
Right. Now I'm gonna give you an analogy, right? Sisters, don't get at me, right? What the whole world will call a 10 for a heathen does not compare to what the world might call a 1 for a sister. Right? The sister that you think is less attractive as the heathen, that sister is more important than that heathen. Right? Where are we? You can keep reading from where you are. Oh, Salakia. That was the end of chapter 2, right?
Khan.
All right, we're gonna jump into chapter 3 and verse 1, right? Because this is a time that it needs to be mentioned, right? Because Salakia, now Barbados, right? The island of Barbados just said they're going independent. They turned around and gave honor to Rihanna, right? Now, this sister, she on the island, she's doing good works, right? According to people from the island, she's doing a lot of good works for the island, right? But the thing is, us as Black people, Hispanic people, Native Americans, we always seem to honor celebrities, right? So on one hand, we're gonna give her honor because she's doing good works. On the left-hand side, this is a sister that will get naked on the internet. Now, not full in the nude, but just not a way that you want to see a sister, just not a way that the Lord intended for our sisters to be. Young girls are going to look up to her and say, well, Rihanna smokes weed, I could smoke weed, right? She got recognized as a humanitarian, so I could smoke weed and be a humanitarian, right? Not knowing that smoking weed is going against our God. It's unhealthy for you, right? A young girl will look at Rihanna and say, well, Rihanna had her chest out, so I can have my chest out because she's a humanitarian and she did good works, right? And those are the sisters that are being honored in the world. In the UPK, we're not honoring those sisters, right? We're honoring sisters that are actually doing good works, right? Passover is coming up. There's gonna be a bunch of sisters making bread until their hands hurt, right? And they're gonna get the honor. There's a bunch of sisters that make garments in the school. We're giving them the honor. There's a bunch of sisters who take care of children and adopt children and teach children. We're giving them the honor, right? Right now we're giving Esther the honor because she saved the nation, right? She did good works. She wasn't out twerking. She wasn't out making OnlyFans and trying to make $100,000 off the internet, but only getting $200 a month, right? Keep Shariwan, you could bring us to chapter 3, verse 1.
Come. After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote his men. Promote Haman, the son of Ammedatha, the Agagite, and
Right.
against him.
Hold that right there. Right. Now, Officer Shayuan, who is this Amagagite? And who are they today?
Oh, Salaki, the Amagagites. Salaki, I'm not sure.
Right. Anybody want to give it a shot? No threat. Montreal, y'all want to give it a shot? All right, so for time's sake, I'll give it to you. The Amalekites are the Amalekites, right? The same Amalekites that King Saul never killed, right? Them fake Jews that King Saul was supposed to kill weren't killed, right? 1 second, let's see. Sorry, you want jump to 1 Samuel 15:8 right quick. Baba Kashar. Or La, hold that. Stay where you are. Barakia Allah, are you with us? All right, Satham, you have your sword with you? Montreal's on mute. Someone, Montreal, get me. Someone get me from Montreal. Someone get me 1 Samuel 15 and verse 8. Right, because in this school we prove all things, right? 1 Samuel Salakia. Saul, he never killed the Jews as he was supposed to, the fake Jews as he was supposed to, right? And because of that, they've always been a thorn in our side, right? They're the ones who made the show Cops, who to make it seem like they had a 20-year run of making black people seem like they're only criminals, making Hispanics and Native Americans seem like they're only criminals, right? They're the ones that are buying up our neighborhoods and gentrifying them. You can read it when you have it. First Samuel 15 and 8.
1 Samuel 15, verse 8.
Salakia, start at 7.
Chronicles 15, verse 7. And Saul smote the Amalekites from Hala until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt.
Right. So Saul, he was smiting the Amalekites, and he was smiting them where he saw them. Right. And this is a vast area of land that he was going to war in against these fake Jews. The same ones that run around and act like they're us right now. The same ones that acted like they're us and got the whole earth. Right. And that should let you know that all you have to do to gain power is come back to your power. That the Most High is punishing us like a good father. Like a good father would, right? Now think about it like this, right? Now I'm not a father, but I'm an uncle. So, and I know a lot of us have children, right? If your child disobeys you, you're not going to not punish them, right? You're going to correct them, right? So how could you be mad at the father correcting us? Right? We needed this correction because we were going off. Now that's what a good father would do, right? But Saul he didn't listen. He didn't listen to his father, so he got his punishment. We didn't listen, so we got our punishment. Saul was supposed to put the Amalekites to death, and it never happened. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 8. And he took Agag, the king of Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword.
Right. So he saved this one Amalekite, this king, right? But utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But he liked this king, so he saved him. Right. You could drop that. Throughout. Officer Shariwan, you can keep reading from where you were.
Come. And advanced him, and set his seat above all the princes that were with him.
So Salakia, 1 second. Let me catch right back up with you.
So Salakia, priest.
Khan.
We have a brother. I just want to say, you are in the school today, all right?
Salakia, Audio, I can't hear you.
You hear me now?
Khan.
I just wanted to salute the brother today. The brother, Levite brother came and asked in the class. Understand? Hopefully he's staying in the school.
Most high in Christ. Most high in Christ. Most high in Christ. Yeah, give that brother a hand. Right, brother, you found a little slice of heaven, right? You found a little slice of heaven, and a good brother in Officer Adiyar, Trooper Baraka Allah, and Trooper Saddam, right? Officer Shariwan, you can continue reading.
Come. Verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman. For the
Right.
king.
So hold that. So now, listen. The worst thing you could do to an oppressor is to not kiss his ass. Right. Salakia, excuse my French. Right. The worst thing you could do to an oppressor is not shake his hand. Not say, well, Billy, you're my friend. Billy's not my friend. Officer Adiyar is my friend. Officer Shariwan's my friend. Those are my brothers. Baraki Allah, Satham, Saquad, Yarad. Those are my brothers. Right? No, Billy and James and I could care less about them. I hope they continue to stay in the gym and stay healthy, continue running, because we're gonna need strong men to build our kingdom. Right? Because Listen, we've already laid the bricks in the mortar and picked all the cotton and served and cleaned up after all the little oppressor babies, right? We're not doing it again. Right? The shoe is gonna be on the other foot. Keep reading.
Come. For the king had so commanded concerning him.
Right. So the king basically said, listen, when you see that man, y'all bend the knee to him. Y'all Salakia. How did Benjamin say it? Hail him up, right? Hail that brother up. And he wasn't a brother, obviously, right? He was a heathen, he was a fake Jew, but the king commanded that you treat him like he's something special. Keep reading.
But Mordecai bowed not.
Because Mordecai, he was a strong brother. A strong brother does what?
Bowed not.
Right. This man bowed not. So Salakia. So Salakia. Officer Shaywan, can you take over for a quick moment? Read down to 3, Baba Kasha.
Come. Esther 3 and verse 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence. Understand? And this is such a powerful thing for our people, right? Something that we got to understand. It's in our law. It's in the Torah, right? Not to set a king of another nation over us. Not to set a heathen. Salakia, 1 second. Salakia, 1 moment. Salakia, bear with us. Right? Salakia. And that's in our law. That's such a powerful thing, right? It's in our law not to set a king of another nation over us, but to set somebody from amongst our brethren, somebody that the Most High chooses. And it's crazy that in 2022, we want to look at our oppressor and set him over us. We want to look at him and celebrate his feast days, celebrate Valentine's Day, all these different things that he tells us to do. In his kingdom, when our oppressor says it's okay for a man to lay down with a man to marry a man, we want to follow his ways. But Mordecai, a strong brother, a righteous brother, said, I'm not bowing down to this heathen.
Right.
Salaki, you want to take that back over?
Khan, I'm here now.
Khan.
Right. What verse did you stop at? 3?
We're at the beginning of verse 3, sir.
Khan, you could read verse 3.
Khan. Then the king's servants.
Actually, Baba Kasha, jump down to 5.
Khan. Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Right. Again, the worst thing you could do to an oppressor is to not bow down to him. Right. He's gonna take that as a major offense. The oppressor, he wants you to love him after he's murdered you, after he's killed you so long. So Salak. Salaki, I'm back.
Right, like Officer Zabadia was saying, this devil, right? It enraged him that he didn't have Israelites bow down to him, that a man wouldn't bow down to him. We can read that in our history books. We read about that in the story of the Maccabees.
All right, I'm back. The water. Okay, Officer Shaywan, you can read verse 5.
Khan. Verse 5. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did him reverence, then was Haman full of wrath.
Right, and this is how we're supposed to act around oppressors. You're not supposed to be, listen, do not show oppressors your teeth. Meaning, don't be smiling up with them. Don't be acting like this is my friend. Yeah, he's gonna love me and we could go hand in hand, because listen, you're still gonna get the curses. Right. And it's gonna be worse for you, because you're gonna not know absolutely what's going on, and you're gonna be going with madness. Listen, have you ever seen a brother or sister who's left the school? And they go absolutely crazy, and they're just anxious trying to get back in. They really want back in, but sometimes their pride won't let them. Right. That's what happens when you want to love your oppressor. When you think that you could love your oppressor more than you're supposed to love your power, your God. Right? Keep reading.
Verse
And
6.
you can go to additions, right? Go into the Apocrypha, into the additions to Esther 11, chapter 11, verses 2 to 3, and you'll see exactly how we're supposed to act with heathens. Right? Keep reading.
Verse 6. And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
Read that one more time.
And he thought scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone.
Right. He wanted to lay hands on Mordecai. Right. He wanted to lay hands on Mordecai and Salakia. He didn't do it at the moment, right? He would definitely get his chance. He did not do it at the moment. He wanted to lay hands on Mordecai, but we are getting to the 9 o'clock hour, right? And I know it's getting late. Some of us has slavery in the morning, but this is a 2-day feast. We're going to be right back at it tomorrow again, and we're going to break down the rest of this story, right? But this is how you're supposed to act with a heathen. Mordecai, he wasn't bowing down, right? That's how Officer Shaywan just broke it down to you. He wasn't bowing down. This is a strong brother, right? Now I'm going to ask one question, and anybody in the room can answer. Why did Mordecai not bow down to that fake Jew? Anybody can answer it.
Salak got one.
Khan.
Because you're a Hebrew Israelite.
Khan, yes, that is the answer, right? He was an Israelite. Hebrew is the language that we speak. We just say what he was an Israelite, right? That when they say Hebrew Israelite, it's just for people who it's a misnomer, right? Like Hebrew's the language we speak. You can't like I'm not an English Canadian. I'm just Canadian, right? That's the simplest way to break it down to you, right? He was just an Israelite, but because he was an Israelite, yes. But I need you to go a little deeper into it. Bring me a little deeper. Like let's take it up a level. Why didn't he bow down to that heathen?
It's like the other one.
Time.
Because it's unlawful.
Yes at the same time, but there's a specific answer I'm trying to get to.
Salakia Adawan, if I may.
Khan.
Because he understood that the elder shall serve the younger. Because he was a prince, he is a king, he is royalty. And Haman is the devil the Bible speaks of.
Khan. Now both you and Baraki Allah both gave me the right answer, right? But it's not exactly the answer I'm looking for, right? The answer I'm looking for, it's a 4-letter word. Right? Just think about today. What is significant about today in the world? What do they say today is supposed to be a day of? Barak Yalla, what did you say?
So like a priest love.
That was Officer Adiyar. Okay, Officer Adiyar. I knew he knew it. I should have said no one but Officer Adiyar answers. Salakia. Right. Shah Yuan, you had something?
Salakia, I was gonna say a sister in the room was saying love.
Done. Love. Okay, so now we established that Mordecai had love. But who did Mordecai have love for?
So like the other one.
Time.
His people.
Right. Now, if you love your people, that means you hate their enemies, right? You cannot love your people's enemies and love your people at the same time. You can't have two masters. Right? If you love one, you're going to hate the other. Right? That's why every time you drive down the street in Montreal, now I'm quite sure they have they definitely have some brother on the police force over there, right? But he doesn't treat you like a brother. He doesn't see your oppression. He doesn't see what you're going through in Montreal North, right? Just like in the city of Toronto, there are brothers driving around in these police cruisers, and listen, aside from their skin color, you can't call them brother. Right. So where were you could keep reading?
Salakia other one. Verse 6. Salakia, verse 6. For they had showed him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews.
Right. So now this is just like every oppressor ever. Right? Just like every oppressor ever. You do one thing, right? And they wanna kill everybody. Now, Salakia, y'all remember the devil from the movie Taken, Liam Neeson? Right. So that devil, right? He had a friend, some cave Becky, right? She was assaulted by some now they're saying it's a brother. Who knows? It could have been a Hamite for all we know. They think Hamites and brothers are the same, right? And we know Hamites have a history of abuse. Look what they did to Dinah, right? And Levi, good night, Levi. Officer Adiyar's people, they love their sister so much. And Simeon, right, Levi's brother, they went and put a whole village to death over their sister. Now they shouldn't have did it, right? They should have waited for the word of their father. They disobeyed, not following their father. If their father told them to do it, it would have been righteous, right? But they disobeyed. You are not the father. You don't make decisions for yourself. In this school, you don't make decisions for yourself. You go to a man above you and you ask for permission, and he says approved. You say kanado and kan. Some men can't handle that, and they drop their swords. It becomes too heavy because they're too weak. Some men make excuses. We don't make excuses in here, right? This oppressor, because he hated the Jews, he said, listen, I'm gonna do like Liam Nelson. My peoples are, or okay, so back to Liam Nelson, right? His friend was abused by someone with a brown skin tone, and he decided to go kill every brother in the street. He ran around the street with a hatchet, and he said any brother that he sees he wants to kill. That's how this man is moving. That's how this man is acting, where he's saying anybody who's a Jew is going to die. Right? So you can keep reading.
Come. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai.
Right. So he wanted to destroy everybody who was a Jew. Keep reading.
In the first month, that is the month Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman, from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar.
Read verse 8.
And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad, and
Right.
dispersed.
So at this moment, he's pleading to the king about his plot to kill the Jews. Keep reading.
And dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom.
Right. Jump to verse 9.
Verse 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed.
Right. So he's pleading with the king. He's saying, listen, you gave me so much reverence, but I don't like these people. Let us destroy them. And he's filling this king's ears with a bunch of, listen, he's just painting us how they paint us right now. Listen, they're criminals. They hate you. That's how they paint the black man, the black woman, Native American and Hispanic woman and black man, and Native American and Hispanic man right now. They paint us as criminals, and they have a plot to kill us, right? It's all the drugs in your community, right? It's all the drugs in your community. It's Planned Parenthood. They're trying to kill you by telling your woman that she doesn't have to listen to you. She could be independent, right? We're gonna finish up this verse, and then we're gonna Officer Sharyuan's gonna give the security announcements, and we'll be right back at it tomorrow to finish out this to put a close to this Memorial Day, right? Because today is about an honorable sister. Listen, sisters are gonna be dishonored right now. They're gonna be taking on another husband, right? And that husband doesn't give a damn about them. He bought a $2 rose, and he's trying to take that woman to his house to have his way with her, only to forget about her in the morning. He doesn't give a damn about her in the morning. He doesn't care if she has issues. Like, listen, a lot of sisters have been Slovakia. right? This is unfortunate, but we have sisters who have been abused, right? Whether sexually or physically, right? And they need counsel, right? Now they want a man just like you want a sister, but they don't know how to be a good sister at that moment because they're still dealing with trauma,
Right.
right? Now, that doesn't mean that sister doesn't deserve love. You want to tear fire, now deal with that issue, right? And if she departs, she departs. But until she departs, you have to deal with it, right? If you want the good, you have to take the bad. And that's what a being a strong brother is. That's what loving a sister is about. Khan,
If I may,
Khan.
Salakia, a wise man above me said that we gotta be these sisters' prince, right? We gotta look at it as this woman is in a tower,
Right,
and she's some beautiful sister, and there's a dragon flying around this tower, and we gotta slay that dragon.
right.
We gotta go to war, like the men teach us to do in the ISUPK. We gotta go to war with that problem so that we can have that righteous sister.
Right.
Salakia.
And those are wise words. You got to go to war. And those are definitely wise words, right? You got to go to war for that sister.
Right.
And this is a sister that we're honoring, a sister that's honorable. You go to war for her. But don't cast your pearls at swine. If she for the streets and she ain't getting in class and trying to get out the streets, leave her in the streets with the trash. Right? You got to leave her right there, because it's not going to be worth your time. A sister that wants to change, she's going to change. She's going to get in here and purify herself for 12 months. Right? You can finish out that verse.
Salakia, I think Officer Adia wanted to say something.
Slack, I just wanted to add, and for all those people out there that say the Bible is just about man, you understand, and you have to kick the woman out and everything, that's a lie, because today shows that this is a lie. We celebrating a sister because of the way she was. And what also we could take from this story is that over 1 million of these Eden women, one sister and one Israelite sister, Black, Hispanic, Native Indian, is better than all of these millions.
Right.
Right, that was heavy. That Shariwan, that's a shirt. Salakia, Shariwan, that is a shirt. Right, that was that Salakia. Adiyar, that sound like some Aaliyah. Let me find out you listen. He said that 1 in 1,000,000. One sister equals 1,000,000 of them heathens. Salakia. Good night. That's the ultimate ratio. Now, brothers, that's how you're supposed to treat a righteous woman. Right? A sister in her righteousness, that is a gift unto you. That she's a helpmeet to you. She came from the Lord when she's in her righteousness. She is worth 1,000,000 of them heathens. Right? And when you find a good sister, you remember her, and we remember a good sister. We're celebrating her tonight. There was some good food. Give the sisters in Montreal a hand. Right? Give Officer Shaywan's rib a hand, because I know Officer Shaywan is eating good right now. I remember.
Salakia, Adawai. I am eating amazing tonight.
Yeah. Right. I was in this Salakia. If I may, Officer Shaywan, if I may. Right. Listen, Officer Shaywan came to battle with us one weekend in Toronto, right? He went back home, and I jumped on Facebook. I'm like, I wonder if Officer Shaywan got in yet. I'm checking my messages to see if he messaged me. I'm going through my phone, right? I go through Facebook. This brother has a 12-course meal that he's sitting in front of. Right? Nah, his sister in her righteousness,
Yeah,
she's worth 1,000,000 of them stinking heathens.
con,
Where were we? We're in verse 9.
sir.
You could finish it out.
Con. And I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hands of those that have the charge of the business.
Right. So what he did was this fake Jew, he put out a hit on the Jews, right? 10,000 talents of silver, it works out to be 1.8 million. Salakia. It works out to be 18 million, right? Salakia, I might have that number wrong, but it's in the millions, right? It was a large amount of money, right? And that's what he wanted to pay to put a hit on our brothers and sisters. And we had a good sister who listen, she did what she had to do, and we're gonna break down all the good works that she had to do to for us to survive, right? And a good sister, she's going to put in work, right? A good sister is going to put in work for her sister. You have Whoopi Goldberg, a billionaire black woman, and listen, kids in Chicago be starving, right? She's over in the land of fleas building huts, right? Wow. Guns are being imported into the inner cities at a very large rate, right? You have now Whoopi Goldberg, she basically said that the Holocaust was white on white crime. She wasn't lying. She was definitely in the spirit of saying it, but at the end of the day, this is a woman who did nothing when when an oppressor was making jokes in blackface. I think it was the year 93, somewhere around there. She did nothing about that, and she was sitting right there, right? There are so many women now. Look at Viola Davis, right? She plays a strong black woman in her roles, but she's always a strong black woman that's laid up with some oppressor. Every movie she's laid up with some oppressor. One movie where she wasn't laid up with some oppressor was Fences, and they made her husband to be. Listen, that wasn't a character assassination on Denzel Washington, right? So again, there's some good food in the spirit of brotherhood and sisterhood. Enjoy the food, enjoy the good times that we have together, right? I'm gonna hand the class over to Officer Shariwan.
Con. So let's clap it up for Officer 1000 Zabadia. Did an excellent class, sir. We're going to do the I.S.U.P.K security announcements. And the ball, sir. We are the I.S.U.P.K, start out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They're to be saluted only. They're here to shed themselves with the world. They need transportation. The teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There's another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a commandment. Numbers 18, verse 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 to 10. Means tenth in the Hebrew, ma'ashra. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, freewill offering for priests is not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming holy convocations. Tomorrow we'll be closing out the Feast of Purim. Make sure you stay tuned. If any brother wants to be a trooper in the school, start wearing all black, boots, shirts, pants, headband, and scarf. With that said, we're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel and Majum, which means stand. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the brothers, men of Israel. Imajim Shabbat, Imajim, Barak, Yahba Shem Yahshua, Yad Yamatah. We're going to give one courtesy salute to the sisters. Sar, turn and face the sisters. Men of Israel, Imajim Shabbat. Imajim. Barak. Yahweh Shemar. Yadamata. Class dismissed.
Salakia, Officer Shah, you want to drop the sign out link?
Come, sir.
And then you could probably after the sign out link you can end the class.
Come, sir.
Yeah, let's go. Officer Shaw, what's going on? I heard you got some good food over there.
Yeah, Salaki, out of one, we're live. I'm just going to put the sign out links.
Go ahead.
Come, sir.